Anthony. Well, you didn't start.
And now that started. And that's it, yeah.
And Gravenberch. The only one who played well was Gravenberch.
Bro, boy, I wanted Gravenberch time ago before he went to Bayern Munich. Again, Man United missed the boat with Gravenberch.
I think a lot of people wanted Gravenberch back in the day. It's just that his time at Bayern Munich made the world forget about him, which was understandable.
I agree.
But
I agree.
Put it this way: it's like if Ineos is as good as you say they are for the club, and all these guys are club signings, yeah. Why did you keep Ten Hag?
Yeah, but I told you already why Ten Hag was kept. Yeah, they've kept Ten Hag because I believe it would have been much more expensive to sack him. Because remember, there was a certain fee that they would have to pay if they was to part ways with him. So for me personally, when they announced that he was staying, I'll tell you now, I was pissed off because it was a case where, for sure, I thought he was gone, and I think what's happened is that United obviously are in big debt, so they thought, you know what?
Wasn't it like 2 years? Was it 2 years left on his contract?
I think it might have been a year, but they've given him an extension because he had a 1 year extension on it, and all they've done really is just triggered his extension. But for me, go on.
But then why? Like, in your mind, why is it beneficial to trigger that extension?
Because it would have been more expensive to sack him. Because it's not a case. I think it would have cost United, if I'm right, about 7 million, or maybe slightly bit more than that, to sack him. So what they've done is that they've extended his contract, but the proof that they changed.
7 million is why they didn't sack him.
No, I think it was more than 7 million. It's either 7 million or more than that. I think it might be more. But the thing is, the fact that his backroom staff have changed, that will let me know that he's on borrowed time, in my opinion. Because
what about this though? What about this though? How do you know that the hiring of a lot of these backroom staff, he wasn't involved in it? How do you know that?
Because he wouldn't have been.
So where does Ten Hag get the energy to turn around and go, all right, this is a new system. Yeah, I know it's our third year, but it's a new system. You're not really going to see the new system ticking over for a couple months yet. And then the club then turns around and go, we back Ten Hag. There's no way the club's going, we back Ten Hag, and don't know that the manager thinks that it's going to take about 3 months for the system to start ticking over, for your team to start building up properly. Like that, there's a disconnect between what most of the fans are saying and what the ownership and the manager's saying. If the ownership back the manager, then what the manager's saying publicly, they're behind it, right? But then the whole fan base, no one in your fan base,
the owners have to be seen as backing him. That's just obvious. But what I'm trying to tell you now is that if you're changing his backroom stuff, yeah, that is the sign there that he's going to be on borrowed time, because you don't just change someone's backroom stuff and then the manager's going to be totally happy with that. People can say that that Ten Hag is fine with it, yeah. But as I said, the longer he keeps, messing up this team, the results are not going the way that Ineos envisioned. He's going to be under pressure because they've got someone in Van Nistelrooy that is waiting. And I tell you now, I promise you now, if Van Nistelrooy is not the full-time manager, he will be somewhere near like the caretaker manager until the end of the season. This manager's not lasting.
Would it be any cheaper to sack him now?
I think they could sack him now. I think they could sack him now because they've made the money from Jadon Sancho, Scott McTominay's money. So there must be money now to sack him. And as I said to you, the next October international break, if Ten Hag's got Southampton coming back from a break, and I think if he doesn't get, I would say, 3 or 4 wins in the next few games, I can't see him being there in October.
Do you know what? I don't actually think it's necessarily about the wins. I think it's about the performance as well.
Yeah.
I think we've also got to look good on the pitch as well to match the results. Because I feel like, obviously, if Eric Ten Hag said what he said to Ineos in his meeting, said this is the vision, this is how I want us to play, they're obviously going to want to take that into consideration, and they're going to look at the style of play and see, all right, so this is what you said. Has it been backed up on the pitch? No, it hasn't. Because I think when it comes to sacking the manager, you've got to look at all aspects of it. You can't just look at just the results. Because there's been, let's say, look at David Moyes. He might have won them the Europa League, but he wasn't playing good football. Well, not the Europa, but the conference. He wasn't playing good football. And even though he was still getting some wins in the league, he still ultimately ended up going because their style of football was probably not matching what they want. They probably want more exciting for the players that they've got. And obviously Moyes got rid of a lot of flair players. I know Moyes doesn't have much to do with Man United, but I think it goes along with the same precipices. If he said A and he's not producing A, then B obviously is definitely going to be taken into consideration. I think he will still go regardless if he doesn't get results, but I think it's going to be based on those two things and probably other decisions as well. Because if you look at
Alex, as you said now, the result side of it, for me, if United were winning, I don't know, 1-0, if Man United won 1-0 in the next 4 games, for some people they'll be happy for Ten Hag, you know what I mean? But for me, I prefer how United are playing over the results, because ultimately, if you're playing well, you are going to get the results. So, I agree. It's going to be based on the performances, but the results at the moment, it seems like, are going to kind of give him a bit of leeway. But for me, it's got to be performance first and foremost.
Yeah, for me, it's performance as well. I want us to at least see improvements. I want us to actually put away our chances, because we're doing the exact same thing as last season. We're creating.
Wouldn't you say that you guys have to then curtail your expectations because you're in a rebuild that's not technically in its 3rd year? You're kind of in that 1st year, because what you're looking now is you want to see the system work. You want to see good performances, and then from the good performances, you want to build them with consistency. Once you get the consistency down, then you can go, okay, we're challenging. That's not usually the 1 year thing. It's usually 2nd or 3rd year that, you get that level of consistency or whatever, and you kind of build out the squad enough. So
but I'd say right now we should at least be seeing glimpses. There's so many people. Sorry, Lens, to cut you off. That was wrong. But there's so many people that you talk to, like in all of my football group chats, they all keep saying the same thing. What is Man United's style of play? What are we doing? And it's the same thing. If we're not seeing, for me, if I don't have an identity of what this team's doing, I can't really get on board with anything else. Like, we can win, but it's a matter of how did we win that game? I don't want to have to question that. I want to be like, okay, cool. That game we won because of good counter-attacking. That game we pressed them off the pitch, and that game we absolutely dominated. Let
me jump in quickly. Yeah. Would you say Ineos's vision for the style of play is the same as what Ten Hag's doing now?
I would say no. But then again, we don't know what Ineos's idea of style of play they want. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know what Ratcliffe wants, he envisions them to play.
Well, then hold on. How can you say that and then tell me that X, Y, and Z are club signings?
Because the lick for me is a club signing.
No, but how can you say that it's a club signing? Yeah. When you don't even know if the style of play that's they're trying to implement now is a club thing or a Ten Hag thing.
So okay. So you believe, Lenny Yoro is a Ten Hag signing?
Is that for all of us?
I'm asking you. Is
You're
Lenny
asking me?
both? Is Lenny Yoro a club signing or is it a Ten Hag signing?
I
That's
think it was.
definitely a club
I think it
signing.
was. I think it
It's
was
a club
signing.
signing. Yeah.
I think it was a. Hold on, wait. I think it was a signing that was identified, brought to Ten Hag's attention, and Ten Hag agreed and said, "Yeah, I want him. I want him to come in."
Nah.
And do you know why I say
it's-
that? Do you know why I say that? Do you know why I
Go
say
on.
that? The geezer touched. As soon as the guy touched down, he was in the starting lineup.
I think it's a club signing personally. Let's ask Nick. Nick, what do you reckon? Do you reckon Ten Hag's a club signing or is it a Ten Hag signing? Because to be honest with you, the reason I say it's a club signing is because already the noise was, he's the next one to take over from Rafael Varane. And as I said, I think if Ten Hag had his way, there's no way Ten Hag would be going for someone like Lenny Yoro. I think out of all the signings he's had, the only player I believe that Ten Hag has identified, you'd probably say Matthias de Ligt. I think he's the only one.
I'd say De Ligt and obviously the other guy. I think they're
Ugarte.
both. I think not Ugarte. I think
Mazraoui.
yeah, I think they're both Ten Hag signings.
Ten Hag
Mazraoui
signings.
is a good. Mazraoui is a good player, but
Mazraoui is very good. Yeah.
I don't think that Ten Hag.
I'm still not fully convinced on him.
I don't think Ten Hag is like not involved in any of the players that you've brought in.
No, of course not. Of course not.
He's got a say in it. So
there's a discussion had. Like, it's a yes/no sort of discussion.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Ten Hag can identify a player himself and bring that, and then they'll have like a group of them that will talk about it. Yeah. They'll say yes, some say no. Kind of like how Klopp didn't want Salah, but the rest of them said yes, we want Salah, so we got Salah. I don't think that Lenny Yoro is the type of player that Ten Hag didn't want, and it's just a club signing because, like I said, as soon as he came, he was putting him in the starting 11. There's no way on God's green earth that if it's just a club signing that Ten Hag didn't want anything to do with, that is immediately putting him in.
But Lens, how do you know? But Lens, how do you know that the club haven't said to him he must play Lenny Yoro?
If the club said you must play Lenny Yoro, not Lenny Yoro, then it doesn't make sense. Everything else that's happening, that all the decisions that the club is making, doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
Well, we've been saying this for years. Nothing really makes sense.
But this is the thing. You've been saying that for years. This is the past. This is supposed to be the new era. Sir Radcliffe, whatever his name is, it's supposed to be new. So you should expect something different from the hierarchy at your club. Now, I'm not saying that every decision that Ineos has made is going to be that bad or whatever. I think it's going to come down to two things. Either Ten Hag is as good as they think he is or he isn't. And all that's going to change is the time it's going to take to turn things around on the pitch, to get the kind of consistency and what you want from the pitch. Now, Nick, comment from before, said that if United were to replace Ten Hag, they should look for, in particular, order Nagelsmann, Amarin, Kezerik, or I can't even say that, buzzers, whatever. Anyway, you guys spoke to half of the people on that list, right?
I don't believe they spoke to Terzic. Peter Bosz used to be at Ajax as well. Terzic is young. Amarim's good. Nagelsmann.
You spoke to the first two, right? You spoke to the first two, right?
Nagelsmann and Amarim, yeah. Nagelsmann and Amarim, yeah.
So it's not like you didn't talk to a manager that some people at the moment, like Nick, believes there are better managers than Ten Hag.
Bro, listen. It's not hard to be a better manager than Ten Hag. He's one of the worst managers in the league.
No, I don't think people actually realize. If you can't have faith, you can't have the faith that you say you have in Ineos. If that is true,
bro, I've already. No. Listen, I've already told you, why he's still there. It was gonna cost too much money to sack the guy. The fact that they've changed his backroom team, he's on borrowed time. If people can't see that, then I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to tell you, he ain't gonna lost. He ain't gonna lost.
I honestly think we missed out on De Zerbi.
Yep.
And we